Ever feel like you're about to embark on a grand journey, but instead of a sword, you have a loom? And instead of a dragon, you have yarn? Yeah, that's what we're doing today. Welcome to the Warp Zone. Today's adventure begins with Marguerite Porter Davidson's book, A Hand Weaver's Pattern Book. Now, if you don't know this book, it is one of the essential books for weaving that you need to have if you have a multi-shaft loom. All right, here we go. So this is the cover. Now, these are overshot novelties. There are a lot of beautiful patterns in this book. These are all fantastic. I love this one. Okay, so I have settled on a pattern, and apparently it's an old linen pattern, and I think it said Je länger, je lieber. I want to say that this means love in German, but I could be totally wrong. I'm going to have to look this up. I was wrong. It actually means the longer, the better. Before we can dive into this wonderful world of endless possibilities, there's one thing we need to tackle first. Math. All right, let's do some math. So I'm looking to get a set of 16 ends per inch. My pattern repeat is 32 ends, and I'm looking to get about an 18-inch scarf. So I need to take my ends per inch and figure out how many ends to equal 18 inches. So I'm going to multiply 18 times 16. All right, so let's see how the 32 fits into the 288 ends. So I'm going to divide 288 by 32. And that actually equals exactly 9. So there are 9 repeats of our pattern right here. Alrighty, first quest accepted. We are venturing deep into the dank attic that holds my warping board. And here it is, sitting there waiting for me. Don't mind any of that. This is what we came in here for. All right, the first thing that I need to do is play a little cleanup. So I need to get the old warp off of this loom completely, and then I'm gonna push it up a bit. Next, I'm going to attach my warping board using some super cool clamps. Let me grab some yarn that I'm gonna use. So the first thing that I need to do is measure out a guide string. The guide string is going to show me how long my warp is going to be and what path I'm going to follow. So you can see me removing some pegs and, just racking my brain a little bit. My warp is going to be about 130 inches long, which is a little longer than I'd like, but my warping board is homemade and the side-to-side distance is a little bit longer than 1 yard. That's totally fine. I'm also going to be splitting my warp into 2, as 288 threads are not going to fit on this warping board at one time. Next, I'm going to insert a counting thread. Every 10 threads I'm going to wrap around the warp thread so that I can easily count out how many threads that I have. Alright, warping is done. Let's take this baby off and put it away. First, I got to put my beam back on, put these back in their special spot, put my warping board somewhere special too. Contemplating my life choices because I can't remember what to do next. Oh yes, the lease sticks. The lease sticks are super important because they hold the cross of the warp in place so that you can thread in the correct order. It is a little bit tedious to put these on when you know what you're doing. It's not, but I couldn't remember what to do because it's been about a year almost since I've done this. There's a special way to tie these knots. Thankfully, I remembered how to do that. Now I'm going to attach my hackle with some clamps yet again. So here I am separating the threads into groups of 18, and then I'm sliding them between one of the nails. I've got to tie on my apron bar to my apron. Let me get some craft paper so that we can use a separator for our warp. And then winding on your own is a little tricky, but if you do this 3-step process, it is going to work just fine. So what you do is you pull tight, and then you kind of brush it with your fingertips, and then you comb it with your fingers, and then pull tight again. You're going to work 1 full rotation at a time, and then repeat the process again. So I've finished winding on. I'm going to cut my ends and take off my hackle. So I've been threading my loom for about 30 minutes now, and then it just hit me that I did not leave a thread for my floating salvage. So I had to undo everything. I'm sure there was an easier fix for this, but... So this is my draft. I just wrote it out and grouped it into little groups, separated by commas so that I can easily follow it. It's pretty simple. This area here where it does 1 2 1 4 1 2 1 4 1 4 3 2 1, that part, I keep tripping up on that and have to keep checking this. So this little list is really handy. Okay, so I have done 3 repeats. Here is my floating salvage. You'll see that it's not part of the threading here. I am doing 1 repeat and then I'm just tying off so that I can easily keep count. So I have 9 repeats, so I am officially 1/3 the way done. Alrighty, we are on the last repeat of this threading, and it actually didn't take me as long as I thought it would. I started this Wednesday night, and then this morning on Saturday, I finished all of it. I just have that one last repeat to go. So overall, it maybe took a little over an hour in total to do this, but since I'm super tall, I'm 6'3", my loom is definitely not built for somebody my size. So I get a lot of shoulder pain right here when I'm threading. So I've got to take a lot of breaks and really just try to relax. You probably just saw that my shoulders were hunched up like this right here. But when I relax, I can still feel the tightness, but we're gonna get through it. We just have one more repeat to go. So let's do it. Okay, so this is what it's looking like right now. I have these extra threads. I have 8 extra that I'm just gonna kind of, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm probably just going to let them hang at the back. And the reason for that is because, actually, I don't really know the reason for it. I just, I had some extra threads that I'm not going to use. This is my floating salvage, and it's just gonna float there. So the threading is complete, and now it's time to move on to the next step, which is slaying the reed. Okay, let's get my reed put back on. So I've got it right here. I'm going to, carefully, actually nope, this needs to stay off. Please don't scratch my wall. All right, I'm gonna put this back in, lock these back into place. Apparently I'm having trouble with screws. Okay, let's chat about reed substitution charts real quick. So I am trying to achieve an ends per inch of 16. So I have a 10 dent heddle, which means that it is set up to have 10 threads per inch. Now I can use a substitution chart that will allow me to get a different ends per inch based on the reed that I have. So if I pull through in a pattern of 1 thread, then 2 threads, then 2 threads, and then repeat that all the way across, I'm gonna end up with an ends per inch rate of 17. That's close enough to 16 that I think it's gonna work. And if it doesn't work, I will unslay the reed and try a different number. So before I start slaying the reed, I am going to take out my lease sticks. I don't need them anymore. So I'm gonna untie this, hold on to it so it doesn't fall, and yank everything out. Untie this one. Take out the ties, and then I can pull them out. Okay, so I did a little more math and found out that at a 17-inch EPI, my scarf is gonna be 16.9 inches wide. So I'm gonna just round that up to 17 and we'll see how that is. So I need to find the center point of that. So half of 17 is 8.5. So I'm gonna start slaying the reed 8.5 inches to the left of the center mark. So I've done that here already. Here is the center mark. This is 8.5 inches. And I've started with my floating salvage just in one of these slots before I start my pattern of 1 2 2 1 2 2. Okay, so something happened that has never happened before, and I'm super kind of excited for it. Super kind of, yeah. Let me show you what just happened. Okay, do you see this mark right here? This is my center point. And do you see where my halfway point on my heddling has stopped? This is exactly half of my threads, and it lined up exactly right with my center point line. I have never had this happen before. It is, I'm way too excited for this. Like for real, I'm so excited about this. So I'm gonna finish slaying the reed, and then there's only 2 more steps. We gotta take care of those foot pedals on the bottom. I keep calling them pedals. They are treadles. I am going to take care of the treadles. We're going to look at the tie up. I probably do have to retie a couple of them. After we do that, all we have left to do is tie on, and then we can start weaving. Okay, I'm done slaying the reed. Next, I need to attach the front apron rod. This is the apron. It needs its rod. I need to attach the rod to the apron. So let's do that. To attach the apron rod, I'm going to use fashion thread number 3. So normally this isn't something that you have to do, but my thread actually broke before I even started the last set of towels, and I just mended it on the go. And now I think it's time to properly take the time to do this. It doesn't take too long. And the only reason I have it on this needle is because it is very hard to get under and around in here. So this just makes it super quick. Hopefully I won't have to do this again for a while. Well, actually I probably shouldn't have done that. It's too tight. Yeah, see, that's too close. All right, we're getting closer. Need a lot more slack over here. There we go. I'm a little nervous that this is too thin because it's gonna be under a lot of pressure, but I think it should hold. All right, that should be fine. So I'm gonna tie in bundles of about that big. Oops, I crossed. That was bad. Let me try that again. Actually, there we go. Split it first. Okay, so before I start looking at the treadles, I already have this set up to where a tabby weave, a plain weave, should already be tied up. So I'm going to check and see if there's any threading errors or slaying errors before I continue. So let me grab a shuttle and I will be right back. All right, so I have this shuttle with a little bit of A2 cotton already on it. It should be fine just to do this little test. So let's see. Let's see what it does. Not the prettiest, but this is not the right yarn. But overall, the fell line looks pretty good. It's a little riding up there. Maybe. All right, look at that. I think these are obvious mistakes in the slaying. How did I get 4 threads in one? It's a big, I'd have to undo these and then cut it off or unweave all of that. I think I'm just gonna leave it and call it part of the scarf. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to cut out this weft. God, these scissors suck. Cut out this weft very carefully. I can hear you gasping now. All right, now I'm just gonna take all of this out. So I'm also gonna take all of this out. So I'll be back when that's done. Please stand by for technical difficulties. Okay, so basically I've gotta go back to my threading. I've done some errors. So now I gotta look through the pattern, see where I am here and figure out what the mistake was. Just kidding, I found it. All right, I've got it marked with my scissors. So, let me pull it up and show you. All right, so this heddle, it should be a 3 on shaft 3. It should not be a 2. I have 2 2s in a row. You see that? I've got a better idea. I am going to cut off this heddle. So I cannot for the life of me find my pliers, so we're gonna hope that these scissors will do the trick. Now before you say, oh no, don't use the scissors, these scissors suck. Okay, we're using this. I'm gonna cut a real long piece. Longer than I need. All right, I'm just gonna tie it to the shaft now. Okay, let's hope that that fixed it. That took way too long to do. You can add untying very tight and small square knots to my resume. If this didn't fix it, I don't know what did. All right, so a lot of weavers will set up their treadles in different ways. Mine are set up with the 2 tabbies on the outside, so I'm going to leave those alone. So then I do sort of a walking sequence where they alternate. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 2 is set up on shaft 1. I need this to be shaft 3 and 4. So I'm going to take this out, move these back, and put it back in so that these, well, of course, I gotta take these off. Let me scoot this back. All right, so I need to unhook this from shaft 1, and we're gonna hook that to shaft 4. And then I might have to get a crochet hook to put these back on. So the reason that I have these on here is because when I use these ties, they sometimes will hook around another pin and they will mess up my treadles. So I'm gonna just slip that off, and then I'm gonna tie this to shaft 3. Well, easier said than done. Okay, so let me get my crochet hook. Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna try this one. Well, don't mess up my hook, please. Okay, there we go. Whew, 2 and 3 on shaft 2. That's actually what they're on already. Then I need 1 and 2 on shaft 3. 1 and 2 on shaft 3. So it looks like for this one, I just, instead of a spring, I use some sort of rubber band action and some thread. All right, here we go. All right, and then my 4th shaft is already on the right ones. It needs to be 1 and 4. So we are done and we are ready to start weaving. Okay, so we are ready to wind our bobbins. Let me show you the yarn that I'm planning to use. So this is my hand spun. I actually have 2 skeins of this. The other one looks like this. It's already been used and unwound. So it's got a lot of those blues and purples going on. And then for my left, I'm going to be using this very thin wool. It's the same as the warp. So let's look at them in comparison. Let's get a closer view. So I think that's gonna look really nice. I'm gonna use my trusty bobbin winder, wind up 1 bobbin of each of these, and then we're gonna start weaving. All right, let's take a look. So I definitely made some mistakes in here, but this is with a single strand for each pattern. This is with a double. I think it definitely shows better on here with the double, but I think I also like this. Also, I'm scared of running out of yarn for this warp if I don't do a single. If I do a double, it uses twice as much yarn every pick. So I'm thinking I like this one. I actually don't know how I feel about this pattern. I think it looks pretty cool, but I've already done all the work, so it is what it is. Yeah, so there we go. We got it all set up. There are no errors in the reed. There are no errors in the heddles. The ones that were there are fixed. And we are ready to weave the scarf. Alrighty, I've got this all hem stitched and I've done 1 full pattern repeat. And I've got to say, I am loving how this is looking. All right, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I will keep you updated on this scarf as it comes along. Who knows how long this one will be on the loom. My last project was on there for 11 months. So if you liked it, hit the like button, hit subscribe. I update as often as I can. I'm gonna try to be a little more consistent, and I will see you next time. Bye.